1999. And this center follows the international standards for the society itself. It's based on the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Basic philosophy of Krishna consciousness is that there is a supreme personality of Godhead, as is mentioned in the ancient Vedic literatures. In fact, the verse that's come to my mind recently, as recent as 10 minutes ago while we were driving here, is from the Sri Brahma Samhita, which is a book of revelation that comes from the first created being in the universe, named Brahma. And after performing bhakti yoga, most specifically by chanting mantra, the divine names of God, it's also sometimes called the spiritual formula, he had his own direct revelation of not just the spiritual world, but the source of all worlds, who is Krishna, who's a person. God, as it turns out, is a person, who's the source of all other persons and all other entities and all energies. And Brahma, upon his revelation, had uttered the verse Ishvara Parama Krishna, the first words that he mentions. And that is that the controller of all energies is Krishna. So he gives a name to the person who's the source of everything and who's the origin of everyone. And Ishvara Parama Krishna, Parama means the supreme. He's not an ordinary person, he's a supreme person. And then he talks about the quality of the person. His form is not ordinary. It's Sakchit Ananda, which means existence, knowledge, and bliss. Anadir, Adir, Govinda, Sarvakarana Karnam, which means that he's the origin of everything and everyone, and he's also the cause of all causes. So the information that we get comes from Krishna. The idea is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita as well. Bhagavad Gita is a text that's spoken 5,000 years ago on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Unusual circumstances. Well, I mean, conversations go on in many different circumstances, but a somewhat surprising circumstance, some might think, for a spiritual dialogue. It's just before a battle takes place. That's the context of the Bhagavad Gita. And here again we have Krishna, who the Vedas say, and who Brahma, the first created being in the universe, says is the original person, speaking to his friend. And someone would say, well, God has friends? And yes. It's like we have friends, we have relationships, so God's a Parama Purusha. He's the supreme person. He has more probably friends on Facebook than any of us all put together. Because he's friends with every living being. He says so in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram yakatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam gyapamam shantam brichyati. One of his features, that is feature of the Supreme Person, is that he's got more Facebook friends than anybody. Suridam sarvabhutanam means more Facebook friends than anybody. Suridam means that he's a suhrit, or the friend who's the benefactor of everyone. And we already have a relationship with that original person. And there are famous relationships mentioned in books like the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. And we can benefit from hearing Krishna speaking to his friends and his other associates and relatives even. So this takes place, the Bhagavad Gita does, at Kurukshetra when Krishna is speaking to a bosom buddy of his, Arjuna. And Arjuna had balked at the idea of going into a battle because it didn't look like there was going to be a good outcome. If you've ever gone into do your duty and it didn't look like, it looked like a lose-lose situation. You know the 7 habits of highly successful people? And Stephen Covey talks about how you try to get a win-win. Well, to Arjuna, in this dialogue in the Bhagavad Gita, before he fights the battle at Kurukshetra, he figured it was a lose-lose situation, and that's not good. And he wanted to quit and not do his duty, and he thought, what good is it? And Krishna speaks to him the philosophy of how to use everything in service of the Supreme, of him, of Krishna, his friend. And he becomes less of a friend figure, he's still friendly, but he becomes a guru figure in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. That is, Krishna becomes the teacher of Arjuna. Normally friends, if they're really close, one friend doesn't instruct the other one so much. And in the Bhagavad Gita, there's a noticeable change when Arjuna is complaining to Krishna that this war doesn't look favorable for me or for the people involved, so why should I fight? I think I'll quit. And after he expresses his despair and then realizes that he's not sure what he's going to do because the battle's imminent, if he leaves, he's going to be considered a coward, which is not a good move, not a good career move for a Kshatriya, a warrior, especially Arjuna because he's so famous. And at a certain point, he declares to Krishna that let's not be friends for now. You be my teacher. You be my guru, and you teach me. Because he does, under the surface, realize that Krishna is not an ordinary friend. So in any case, that's when Krishna begins giving his teachings to Arjuna. And we're the recipients, the beneficiaries of that conversation. It was recorded because it was a slightly different kind of technology. And we can understand how mysterious technology is, at least it is to me, how you can send information through thin air. I remember my father, he never quite made the curve in technology. My mother had moved on to a typewriter, onto a computer, and my father was still in the other room using a typewriter. And he was like, I was telling him about email because it was becoming more prevalent, and he said, well, where is it? I still think, how's it being sent? And someone may say, well, how did you get the conversation of the Bhagavad Gita? And it's explained there that there was a kind of technology, it's subtle energy, and there was a way in which it was envisioned by a mystic, or at least he wasn't known as a mystic. His name was Sanjaya. He was an attendant to the king at the time, Dhritarashtra. And Sanjaya had been given some kind of power, the technology of the time, to envision what was happening, to actually hear what the conversation was. So he recounts it to Dhritarashtra, and there you have the conversation. In any case, throughout these literatures, we have the benefit of getting clear knowledge about how to practice in such a way, how to live our lives in such a way that we don't become implicated in what Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita as a network of debt called karma that can hold us in a lower state of consciousness in perpetuity unless we're able to break out of it. And that's a lot what the Bhagavad Gita is about, is how to come to our original state of consciousness. There's a story, some people I've seen have attributed it to the Mundaka Upanishad, but I couldn't find it in the Mundaka Upanishad. Nonetheless, it's an instructive story about how an eagle, what's a female eagle name? An egret? What? No. I'm talking about a female eagle, not a baby eagle. What's a female eagle called? For 20 points. And go to the front of the prasadam line tonight. Huh? Now you'll look it up. Work with me, people. Let's wake up here. Okay, what's a female eagle called? An egret? She got the answer, but she won't say it until you give her a microphone. We have no more microphones. We sold them off to buy biscuits for everybody. No, over here, research department. Can you ask Ramananda if you got my email with the slide deck?
A female eagle is an eagle. There is no special term. However, you will you will sometimes see the word formel used
How
to describe.
How boring is that? All right, so female eagle laid an eagle egg in the forest. And actually, it was in a nest, because eagles build nests way high in the trees, but wind had blown it down, and the egg had survived. And a farmer who was foraging in the forest had walked through, and he found it in the nest, which was pristine, and he was amazed that the nest had fallen from the tree, and the egg was undisturbed, as far as he could tell. So he picked up the egg, and he took it back to his farm, and he had hens there who had also laid eggs, so he put the egg in with the chicken eggs. And the hen was very happy to also help incubate that. She had a motherly instinct and just saw another egg. So she sat on that egg, as hens do, to keep them warm. And soon there were hatchlets that came out. Hatchlets. That'll work. You can't disprove that one. Hatchlets. And as the chickens came out, there was also a baby eagle. That's got to be called something, right? An eaglet. That's an eaglet, right? Haha. Okay, so the eaglet came out with the other little chicks. And as it grew up, and you'll even see this nowadays on YouTube if you go to those places where there's animal rescue, and you'll notice that certain animals, if they grow up with other kinds of animals, that they start imitating them and feeling like they're that kind of animal. Because animals tend to, everybody, product of their association. In fact, this is one of the main points Krishna makes in the Bhagavad Gita, that whatever state we're in now is due to our previous association, or previous and current association. That's also something that modern social scientists talk about, and even pseudoscientists talk about it, and talk about if you count up the incomes of the people you're associating with, then you can pretty much judge what yours is going to be. So the eaglet grew up with these chickens and walked like a chicken and ate chicken food. And the little chickens don't fly. They hop around, and they'd go a few feet. Not that I'm a big expert, but whatever I've gleaned from the Nature Channel. And then it became obvious by its body type that it wasn't a chick, but consciousness-wise, that eagle thought it was a chicken, because it had been raised there. And one day a visitor came through who was a wise person, and he was musing at this scene of the eagle associating with chickens and walking around like a chicken and doing all the things the other chickens did. And he said, "That's not a chicken, that's an eagle." And even the farmer there said, "Nah, he's a chicken." And the eagle thought, what's he talking about? I'm a chicken. So this wise person said, "No, I think he should come to know his real nature." So he asked the farmer, "Can I work with this eagle for some time?" So he took him up to a little mound and he encouraged him to jump out and fly. But the eagle just landed on the ground and walked around like a chicken again. So then he went to a little higher area and did the same experiment, and same thing happened. And several experiments later, it looked like the association and the ways that the eagle had grown up were indelible, and that he would forever be in the mood of a chicken. And then finally he took him to the highest peak in the area, which took some climbing, and he took him up there and showed him the sky. And this eagle, who thought he was a chicken, looked out at the sky, saw the clouds, and then saw the great canyon below, and something stirred in his heart. And the wise man could sense that something had stirred in its heart, noticed its countenance change, and nudged it a little bit. And that eagle then leapt out from his hands and began to soar. And in that moment realized that it was not a chicken, but it was an eagle. And the story, many people may take various lessons from the story, but one of the ways it relates to the practice of what we call Krishna consciousness, which means to come back to our original consciousness, is to see that the ways that we work in this world and the idea that we're a material entity, I belong to a particular family. When you perform a yajna, there's a recount of your family and your heritage and so forth. But actually, we don't have anything to do with this material identity that we've assumed. And because of association, we've taken on a very determined lifestyle that, I'm a human, I have to do human things and so forth, and I have work to do, I have family, I have obligations to my material body. And so Krishna says this is a mistaken identity. And by the process of being reminded, that's a weird sentence, when we're reminded by Krishna and those who teach Krishna consciousness, like our spiritual teacher here came to the West and just had a simple message that you really don't, the work that you're doing and the way that you're identifying yourself is not your real nature. He was like that wise person who came and took the eagle and said, here, no, try, fly. And it's quite natural, because that is our nature. We're spiritual beings. So the book I referred to a moment ago, which was a revelation of Brahma, he had that experience where he broke through from his identification with the material world, and then he had a revelation of the spiritual world and of Krishna, and that's altogether possible for everybody. one of the lessons of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam is we're a lot more powerful than we think we are. Just like a eagle has a lot more power than a chicken. And our power is suppressed by our own misidentification with something that we're not. And there are several verses that are very encouraging in the Sri Brahma Samhita, in which Krishna is speaking to Brahma, and it's advice for everybody in the world. And he talks about how one can have an awakening. Prabhude Jnana Bhakti Mayananda Chinmayi Udetina Tama Bhaktir Bhagavat Prema Lakshana Pramanes Tat Saracharais Tarabhyaser Nirantaram Bodhayana Manatmanam Bhaktim Apyutamam Labed. He says that anyone can awaken. Prabhude Jnana Bhakti Vyam, and all that's necessary is knowledge and practice, he says. So knowledge comes from a couple of very reliable sources. One is the Bhagavad Gita, another is the Srimad Bhagavatam. There are several other books in the orbit of, or in the universe of these books, but they're the main ones. And Prabhude Jnana Bhaktivyam Atmayananda Chinmayi Udeti means to awaken. Udeti Tama Bhaktir Bhagavat Prema Lakshana. What happens when you awaken because of knowledge from these books and those who teach them, and the practice of bhakti, is what he's saying, is you realize you have a higher nature. Prabhude Jnana Bhaktivyam Atmayananda Chinmayi Udeti Tama Bhaktir Bhagavat Prema Lakshana. Lakshana means the qualities that somebody has or something has. Bhagavat Prema Lakshana, which means that through the knowledge and practice that we teach here, through this authorized system that's been passed down from Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we get an awakening, and we'll realize that we're not chickens. We're actually eagles. And we can fly. And we didn't know that. We didn't know we could fly. But we could awaken to that. And Udayat Dutama Bhaktir. And then also realize your relationship with a higher realm. And your relationship really with Krishna. And then he says, Pramanais tatsaracharais tarabhyaser nirantaram bodhayanat manatmanam bhaktim apyutamam labed. He gives more evidence about how to do this, how to be steady in a spiritual practice. Would you like to know that, according to this? Okay. So that was 63% said yes. Everybody else, cover your ears. He says, Pramanais, you should have evidence from a solid authority. Pramanais means you have to have authorized knowledge. There is such a thing as authorized knowledge, otherwise there is no such thing as study. And there is no science that one can follow unless there's an ology. That's why things are called ologies, because the universe isn't random. You can have a controlled experiment because you can organize things in such a way that you can analyze them. And so Pramanais indicates that there is a source of clear knowledge, Praman. Pramanais tatsaracharais. And achar means there's a way that you can behave in the world so that it'll aid your awakening to spiritual knowledge. Pramanais tatsaracharais tarabhyaser. And abhyaser means practice. So again, you have to have evidence from Scripture to teach you. And amazingly, human beings have a very high status in the universe. So if you were feeling a little depressed when you came in here, you can cheer up. Because the human form is especially designed for awakening to spiritual knowledge. Actually, we can notice it in any living being in this world has some amazing feature, because consciousness is amazing. And when it comes through various entities, even a blade of grass is amazing. It's alive, right? Plants are amazing. There's a book called The Secret Life of Plants. Anybody read that one? Don't read that book. It'll blow your mind. You'll never be the same. And did you know that dolphins can hear the heartbeat of a fetus? And they can know that a woman's pregnant before she even knows she's pregnant, because the dolphin will sense the heartbeat of the infant. It's not an infant, of the fetus. And it'll come, anyway, I won't go into the details of how biologists have observed that. Well, yes, I will. They come and they go directly to those, and they'll cohort with those who have fetus. And they've noticed it repeatedly and in controlled experiments that they gravitate towards that. There's also some in Hawaii have said that they come right up and they'll touch you with their nose on your heart. They can sense your heartbeat. And living beings have sensitivities. There are dogs that can smell cancer within the body. Did you know that? That's also a scientific fact. Like beagles, they've done controlled experiments, long line of people. Beagle goes along, stops. The ones that were trained for it, they can smell the byproduct. There are certain byproducts of the cancerous cells in the body, and the beagle smells it, and it'll stop right there. I mean, even if it's said before an earthquake, animals start decamping before anybody even knows it's coming. Like someone said, if you see your dog with a canteen and a backpack taken off, you know there's an earthquake coming. My point is that life is not only sacred, it's beyond matter, and it's amazing. And Krishna says as much in the Bhagavad Gita, charyavat pashyati kashyarenam. If you really look at this matter and try to understand what's behind it, that is, here's the body, there's something that's supernatural. It's not part of the natural world. Within the bodies of every living being, but a human being, sensitive to the point, we're tuned, this body is tuned to awaken to our relationship with God. Dolphin can't do that. According to the Srimad Bhagavatam, the ancient shastras like the Hitopadesh says that humans, animals, same, except for humans can perceive God and understand causality and trace it all the way back. Not just immediate causality, but their perceptual horizon can go all the way back to the very beginning. And that's why we're sitting here, just by hearing about it and getting this knowledge, pramanais, get authorized knowledge, tat saracharais, and then acting according to it. Then, abhyas, you practice. And then there's a way in which yadrishi shraddha siddhir bhavati tadrishi. Krishna is speaking. This is Krishna speaking to Brahma at the beginning of the universe. And he says, yadrishi shraddha siddhir. Siddhir means perfection. The more that you do these activities, hear from the Bhagavad Gita, and act according to it, it takes a little practice. And then, as you continue, you'll awaken your own direct perception of how you're not your body. Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita when he mentions that the spiritual experience is direct. You'll see it for yourself. Pratyaksha vagamam dharmyam. Pratyaksha means direct experience. He said a spiritual practice should be direct. It's not theoretical. And it's not just ritualistic. It's not perfunctory. Any other words you want to throw in? It's something that you see for yourself. You directly experience it. So how much will you experience it? To the degree that you awaken your, what is called shraddha. Shraddha means this innate sense that, oh, I'm part of God. And the more I depend on God and the more I organize my life around this principle, then the more I'm aligned and the happier I am. It's very natural. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, one of the great saints of the line of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, had said in a poem that he wrote that Jiv Krishna Das, a Bishwas. Bishwas also means a kind of, when you have this revelation that you're a servant of God, Jiv Krishna Das, a Bishwas, Korlito or Dukho Nai, then you won't suffer anymore. Unhappiness comes from missing the point. Missing that point, especially. So he said, Yadrishi, Shraddha. Shrad means what you're putting your heart, da, into. Shraddha. Yadrishi, Shraddha. Sit here. The more you develop this inclination to serve God and conviction to do it, then sit here. To that degree, you're getting perfect. Who here would like to be perfect? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bhavati. Tadrishi. To that degree. Tadrishi. Bhavati. That's how much you come to perfection, is by how much you develop shraddha. You're putting your heart's really in it. And how do you put your heart into it? Pramanais. You listen to the Bhagavad Gita. Tatsaracharais. You act according to it. And then abhyas. Practice it. Just keep doing it. Practice. And that was the wise man. He was taking the eagle and giving him little experiments. Jump off of this. Okay, a little higher, jump off of that. And finally, there's an awakening. And he was able to soar. And that's what happens for us also. And then he gets very practical advice, which is parallel with what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita. Said Tadrishi Shraddha. Sorry, I need a running start to get to the next verse. Kurvan nirantaram karma loko yam anuvartate. Tenaiva karmana dhyayam mam param bhaktamichyati. Which means that kurvan nirantaram karma. Everybody's got to work. Sorry if I wrecked your day. Every living entity has to work. Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita also. Nahi kashit shanamapi jatu tishatya karma krit karyate havasha karma sarva prakriti jaragunai. He said, not even for a moment can you stop working. Not even for a second. You got to go. Everyone's got to move. Move along. And so, kurvan nirantaram karma. Everyone has to perpetually move. Nirantaram karma. Perpetually in motion to do something. You can't stop doing something. Kurvan nirantaram karma loko yam anavartate. This applies to everybody in the world. Tenaiva karmana dhyayam mam param bhaktimichyati. Therefore, he says, do your work for me. Whatever you're doing, dedicate to me. Krishna says it in the Bhagavad Gita also. Yat koroshi arashnasi, yat juhosi dadasi yat tapasasi kanteya tat kurishva manarpanam. Whatever you do, offer it to me. Whatever you're eating, offer that to me. That's bhakti. That's what the teaching of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is. Don't quit your day job or your night job. You don't have to change your clothes or your hairstyle, nothing like that. Just change the way you work. and your attitude towards it, that it's a sacrament. You're offering it to God. Kurvan nirantaram karma loko yamana vartate tenaiva karmana dhyayam. Your meditation should be mamparam bhaktamichati. That I'm doing this for God. That's my contemplation. I'm doing everything for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And now, you have to move up, Srivas Pandit said. It's like Simon says, only this is Srivas Pandit Prabhu said. So one thing, don't move your mats. If there's more mats over there, put another row here. Is there? This is engineering. I know a lot about engineering. Get several more mats, somebody, please. No more? Because if you move them, then it all gets skewed. Did we get a slide deck? Can I have a clicker? I know I'm asking a lot, but don't mean to be so demanding. Oh, what time's the offering? I see Malini in there. Okay. Is everyone okay so far? Yes. All right, you might as well just move up because I don't see we're getting any more mats. Inconvenience regretted. But this clicker better work. Otherwise, I'm going to complain. Okay, thank you. Would you like to hear some wisdom, ancient wisdom for modern times from the Bhagavad Gita? Yes. All right, here we go. So I showed this at Salesforce right before I left for India, so I'm giving you the remnants of the Salesforce. Just that the universality of Bhagavad Gita. It's a non-sectarian literature. People from any culture and read Bhagavad Gita and appreciate it. It's at once simple and profound. If you read Bhagavad Gita regularly, you'll notice that you're intelligent. You know how people can tell you're intelligent? Is you don't overreact to things. People who, well, I hate to use the word intelligent, but when you read Bhagavad Gita, you become more refined because your intelligence becomes activated. That's called Vivek. Is anybody here named Vivek? It's actually a spiritual term which means to fortify your intelligence. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Evam buddhi param buddhvasam stabhyatmanamatmana jahishatram mahabaho kamarupa durasadam. If you want to overcome your lower nature, does anybody know what I mean by lower nature? Can you relate to that? Okay, Srivas was very demonstrative. And I think we all can relate that there's this struggle that goes on. I know what to do, but how can I do it? You ever feel like that? Yes. Don't you hate that? Yes. Yeah, well, you can fix it by reading Bhagavad Gita and practicing Krishna consciousness. You can fix that. That's not ordinary. Most people succumb to their lower nature and they're like, what happened? So, Evam buddhi param buddhva, Krishna says, get your intelligence fixed, vivek, have discrimination of what's to do, what's not to do, what's smart, what's stupid. Don't do stupid stuff. That's a pretty simple instruction, right? Yeah, it'll be my epitaph on my gravestone. Don't do stupid stuff. Okay, so famous readers of the Bhagavad Gita have read Bhagavad Gita and said, this is simple but profound. And that's quite an achievement to have something that's simple but profound, what to speak of having the quality of freshness, that every time you read it, it seems new. Okay. So I read a book recently. It was about the power of analogy. And the book's called Shortcut. I recommend it. It's a really great book. It's a study of analogy and how analogies guide us in the world and how there are ways in which history has been swayed by analogy. For instance, just the appointment of a Supreme Court justice back in the 60s. And there was a huge controversy. Even back then we had controversies. And there were factions. Some wanted him in, some didn't want him in, as usual. And he defined himself as a baseball umpire. He said, I'm just like a baseball umpire. Just call balls and strikes. And because of that, and it was so appealing to the American public, it swayed the way people thought about him. He was eventually voted in and so forth. But he gives numerous examples about analogy. Analogy, as I like to say, is a thought bridge that takes us from theory to practice. And it's a kind of alignment for our lives. Like, how do you define your life? What would you say your life is, using an analogy? I'll give you some suggestions. A race. How about a rat race? What kind of image is that? What are you doing? It's a rat race. That sounds horrible. Or a war. It could be warfare. Life is warfare. You'll find these prevalent, and we get used to them, and we might just pick up any old analogy. In something I wrote recently, I was thinking another way, more aligned with Bhagavad Gita, to define your life with analogy is to say that the universe is a classroom. What if everything that happens to you is meant for your refinement and to learn a lesson? That's actually in the Bhagavatam. Tenu kampam susamikshmanu bunjana evatma kritam vipakam. Again, that's Brahma speaking, and he says, if you take everything that happens to you as a lesson so you can improve yourself, you're on the right track. So analogies are important. The author is named John Pollock. He said, those who construct the cleverest, most resonant, and apt analogies are usually the most successful in reaching the outcomes they seek. Like or dislike? From 1 to 5. 1 means you kind of like it, and 5 means it's fantastic. Thanks. Work with me, people. Okay, next is a little collage for you here of some of the analogies, only some of the analogies you'll find in the Bhagavad Gita. If you take a little look there, you'll notice there's a lot of them. You might not even notice it because analogies they fit so well. When you hear them, you just think, oh yeah, I get it. So every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita has an analogy in it. Did you know that? At least one. Analogies abound. So here's one for you. Do you like turtles? Well, this is about a tortoise. Krishna uses this analogy. I like animals, I got to admit it. I mean, I find them fascinating, and sometimes they're easier to get along with than people. And turtles, or tortoises. The tortoise, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the commentary to the Bhagavad Gita, our acharyas talk about how a tortoise lays its eggs on the beach, that is a sea tortoise, obviously, and meditates on them from the sea. So you'll notice this, again, if you want the reference for this, it's the Nature Channel. You can watch that and see that a tortoise will lay its eggs on the beach, and then it goes on the water after it lays the beach. Why would it stay there? Why? Because in the water it's meditating on the eggs. So the great teachers of bhakti from days of yore have made much of this turtle analogy, in which we have this power of pointing our attention in a certain direction. And so Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, use that wisely. Don't just waste it. That's your main asset. You're a powerful part of God. You're a fragmental part of God. Fragmental doesn't sound so nice, but that's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. It doesn't translate so well, I should say. Mamai vamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. So you're sanatana, you're eternal being. You have the same quality of God, and you have a lot of power, more than you think. Where is it? Where is that power? The fulcrum of power is in your own utilization of your consciousness, and a word that's used often is contemplation. What are you contemplating? Means, where are you letting your consciousness go? What are you considering as important? Even the word worship. If you think about worship, what is worship anyway? Oh, just religion. It has nothing to do with that. Worship comes from the word worth. Worth means value. It got changed over years by some kind of morphing. Language always morphs over time. It tends to go from one pronunciation to another based on what's easier for the tongue to say. In Sanskrit, they do it for you ahead of time in Sandhi rules. So you can thank whoever did that later. But worth, it used to be worthship. Put a ship on the end, then it becomes a noun. So worthship is worship. Say worthship. Now say worship. And worship means what you consider valuable. And you can tell what you consider valuable because if you have a spouse at home, or a significant other, or a friend, does anybody have any one of those three? Yes. If you don't, see me afterwards. So, if you're talking to your significant other, your friend, your colleague, and your colleague's not paying attention to you, what do you say? I'm really asking, it's not her. You feel annoyed. It is annoying. And you feel that you've lost the connection. Or even, if you're telling me something, start telling me something. Give them the microphone so it's more realistic.
I was in Walmart on Friday.
I mean, just doing that, I'm sorry to do that to you, but he's telling me something on Friday, and I look at my watch, and next thing you know, concentration's broken. So what we meditate on, that's what we're worshiping, really. People, they look at a sporting match, and that's their form of worship. They're worshiping the athletes that are there. They have announcers. It's a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar industry. I won't say cricket because I'll offend everybody, but I mean, it's a bunch of grown people hitting a ball. But you watch the ball or soccer, 3 hours, back and forth. It's a kind of worship because, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, this is contemplation, and he says, Dhyayato vishayan punsam sangasteshu pajayate. You connect to that by your own consciousness. So he said, if you look at insignificant things and become enamored of them, your life's going to become insignificant. Direct correlation. Surprise, right? So the tortoise, its intentness is invoked in the commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita, that as a tortoise goes in the sea and then meditates on the egg. You know how a mother is so attentive to the offspring or pre-offspring cycle and then is meditating there. So in the same way, we can take this, where your attention goes, your energy flows, and this is one of the practices of Krishna consciousness, is bring your attention to God. And God has a name. And the name of God and God are the same. So if you say the name, and we say this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Be like the tortoise, meditating on the egg, on the shore. Doesn't matter where you are, you could be on the other side, the dark side of the moon. But if you're meditating on that name, and you're remembering God, God is everywhere, right? Tadejati, tanaijati, tadure, tadvantike, tadantarasya sarvasya, tadu sarvasya sibayataha. The Upanishad said God's far away, but he's very near as well. He's all pervading. And if you just think of him like the tortoise thinks of the egg on the beach and stay there, chant the name, remember him, and think of the mantra, then what will hatch in your life is perfection. And he also gives this analogy of the tortoise. This is the direct translation from the Bhagavad Gita 2. Does that say 38? 258. One who is able, this is a section in the Bhagavad Gita, by the way, where Arjuna wants to know from Krishna what are the symptoms of somebody who's attaining perfection or has attained perfection. And there's verifiable symptoms, so you can look and see for yourself how you're doing on this. Krishna says, and the one who, he's replying, the one who can do this is the one who's attaining perfection. So he says, one who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. So it means you use your senses in the service of Krishna, and when you don't need them, and the senses aren't going to be engaged in Krishna's service, then just like the tortoise draws them in, and only brings about his limbs out when they're needed. Want one more analogy? Okay, that was about 42%. So the rest of you have to cover your ears. The lessons of the door. And if you think about how important doors are, I think about bridges all the time. Bridges change the world. And doors are equally as important. Krishna uses this example of the door. And especially human life is a door of opportunity. It's rarely achieved. And door means you can be in one environment, you can walk through the door and you're in another environment. And the process of Krishna consciousness is considered to be a dwar, a door. Door comes from dwar. It comes from Sanskrit. And so think of the opportunity of walking through the door from one environment, the material world, which is a little hectic, to say the least, into the spiritual environment. And then he says here, when an embodied living being controls their nature and mentally renounces all actions, they reside happily in the city of 9 gates. The material body, gate, door, same thing. So you can consider this, the analogy Krishna gives of your own body. Notice, these are all gateways or doors to the outside world. And he says that if you know how to use these properly, these gateways, then you can be happy in this world. And what's more, you can become enlightened. You want me to prove it? Okay, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says that if you can control your tongue, and this is called the gateway sense. If you can control your tongue, then all the other senses are known to be controlled. And the Padma Purana, an ancient scripture, says, Atashi Krishna namadi nabhaved grayam indriye sevan mukhi jivado swameva spuratyada. Yoga begins with the door of the mouth, which contains the tongue. This is where you begin yoga, right here. Check and see if you got an opening down here. You have it? Notice if you have a tongue inside. Don't take it for granted. That's your ticket to liberation. And don't look for some fancy schmancy thing. That's where it starts right here. How to control your tongue. That's the doorway to success. And so the Padma Purana says, if you use this gateway, the mouth, with the tongue in it, in service to God, then God will come and reveal himself to you. So I'll say it again. Atashi Krishna namadi nabhavid grayamindriya. It says you can't use your senses to see God. It's impossible. Otherwise it wouldn't be God. As he has to reveal himself to you. But it says, Tashi Krishna Amadi Nabhavid Graimindri Sevan Mukhi. Mukhi hi jihwadao. Jihwad means the tongue, right? So Sevan Mukhi hi jihwadao. Adao means to begin with. Start here. Swayameva spuratyada. Spuratya means the appearance. God will appear in your life directly to you if you use your tongue for seva, which means service. So there are many more analogies on this PowerPoint, but that's what I'm going to offer for now. And I'll take, if you like, a few reflections from what I've said so far, or questions. And there are 78 people watching on the internet, so we welcome them. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. As you're quoting this verse, Ata Shri Krishna Namade, I was recollecting, recently we gave a relationship seminar. There we were mentioning relationship. Just as a ship has a rudder, which is very small in size, but it controls the direction where the ship goes. So similarly, in all relationships, that the way we use the tongue dictates the direction the relationship goes. And I was just now extending that to Krishna. Our relationship with Krishna also coincidentally has a lot of connection with the tongue, how we use our tongue in chanting His name. So I was just appreciating the analogy that
Yeah, thanks for extending the analogy. The tongue's even shaped like a rudder, right? And that's the direction we're going to go. Krishna talks about this in the Bhagavad Gita, the austerities of speech. If you mind your speech and you speak truthfully, beneficially, avoid speech that offends, regularly recite the Vedas, then you're going to go in the right direction. That's very practical. But especially chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Check and see when you say this if your tongue is moving. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. That's seva. You're doing the best kind of worship of God, and you don't even need a brick and mortar. You don't have to build a temple somewhere. You can be anywhere and use your tongue to chant Hare Krishna, and you'll be going towards Krishna, and it'll take you all the way back to Godhead. Okay, 2 more questions. Yes, or reflections.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for the fantastic class. I really liked the story of the wise man and the egret and how he, brings the egret to realize who that is. And just this morning, I was reading the shloka from Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is telling Arjuna that Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyati tarishyati tada gantasi nirvedyam shrutavasya shutasya chasi. He was kind of just weaning him away from the materialistic rituals that people generally, adhere to in the Vedas. And he's saying that when you get out of this dense forest of moha, and that's what it was. And you also mentioned Srila Prabhupada, the wise man who came to the West. So we're just doing that how the spiritual master helps you in coming out of the dense forest. Yeah.
Thank you. It's all there in the Bhagavad Gita. One last point.
Thank you for the nice class, Prabhuji. I was, when you were talking about Dwaram, the door, right? Gita gives another, in another context where it says that, Krishna says that Trivedam Narakasyetam Dwaram Nashanam Atmanaha, how this lust, anger and greed are the doorways to hell. So one should try to give these up. So I was recollecting that. And I have one question, Maharaj. So you are talking about having knowledge and then practicing it so that one can get advanced on that path. But in spite of acquiring knowledge, sometimes we feel that we are not able to implement that knowledge, and then it takes back seat and our lower nature takes precedence. So how can we overcome those situations?
You got to live in an ashrama. Ashrama. So there's a system for guiding ourselves towards of taking advantage of knowledge and having the practice. It's called ashrama. The word ashrama. Shrama means wasting your time. Have you ever wasted time and then felt guilty about it? So an ashrama is a place where you don't have a chance to waste time because everything's centered around purposeful living, thinking, working, and so forth. And the ashrama system is the ancient system of India. It's not Hinduism. That's an invented word. It's newish. Varna ashrama, That's the ancient system of the culture. And it means to, according to your psychophysiological nature, to be in a place where you're encouraged all the time to use whatever talents and wherewithal you have in the service of God. And so there's varnas and ashramas. And in that system, for instance, when you're young and you've got a lot of learning power, it's a time when in the ashrama system, you can be surrounded by stimulating processes for learning. And then in the next stage of your life, you live in such a way that you can utilize whatever resources you're getting for helping others. And then in the third stage, when you're getting a little older, you can start practicing how to let go of everything more and more. That's a lot of fun, actually. There's investment, then divestment. And we have a lot of investment counselors. What do they call them? Investment advisors? Financial advisor, how to invest. You could start a consultant, investment consultant. You could also become a divestment consultant and teach people how to divest. That's the third stage. And then the fourth stage means when you've reached the point where you don't have any more obligations except for you've mastered it and you've got that kind of momentum. And that can be done anywhere. You just have to organize your living space. That's a weird phrase. You should organize your life, your home, wherever you live, in such a way that you can always be on track. And that's the idea of having an ashrama. By the way, shrama, I was about to say, shrama means useless labor, wasting your time, and ashrama means where you don't waste your time. It's no more shrama, only purposeful living, and that feels good. So now, since we have a few minutes together, before we have tonight, I'll just give you a spoiler alert. At quarter till, we have an offering of what our community did last year, which includes all of us here, working together to do one of our primary activities. One, we have many. One of them is to distribute literature to the world. And it's very specifically to Silicon Valley. And we also have outlets or pipelines where we're, for instance, putting Srimad Bhagavatam sets in villages in India, which makes a huge difference in those villages. We also place them in South America, China, Japan, and so forth. But the bulk of it goes here in Silicon Valley. And over the span of the last couple of decades, we're doing our yearly review yesterday. We've literally distributed millions upon millions of Bhagavad Gitas in Silicon Valley and around the world. And tonight, we have our yearly report. You know, in India, the accountant comes out and reads the accounts to the deity. You know that? They'll read so much was in the hundi, this is how the money's being spent. You read it to the deity because it's Krishna's place. And so we read this offering to our founder Acharya, and he can report it to Krishna for us. And I can see those who are going to report, they're working feverishly out there, tabulating all the scores because there's a lot to report. So in about 10 minutes, we're all going to gather together here and hear one of the leaders of the effort read the report of how many books we distributed collectively last year, 2024, as well as how much we realized in return as people gave gifts in return, cash, credit card, stock bonds, endowments, property, and so forth. So now we're going to, if you'll agree to it, try what's called Sankirtan, a group chanting of Hare Krishna. Does that sound like a good thing to do? Okay, that was about 41%. Everyone else can just sit there and look glum. All right. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare As advertised, we now have the yearly offering. This is the cumulative scores from our distribution of literature and combined with, and they're one thing actually, the results of our Bhakti community, which is hand in glove with our outreach of distributing books and inviting people into what we described in the lecture as the practice of Krishna consciousness. You can live in your home and practice through joining the Bhakti community. It's not just an online community, but it also takes place in person in various locations around Silicon Valley, and everyone can become a part of that. And you can invite your friends, newcomers to join. So now we have a exercise in skill. We're going to stand up and take the asanas that we have and place them in that box over there. Neatness counts. Then we're going to roll up this carpet, and we're all going to circle around, make an arc around, or 2 rows in front of Prabhupada. Usually the ladies are on this side, gentlemen on the other side, and a row open down the middle, because that's so Prabhupada can see the deities. And we have to do it within 1 minute and 22 seconds. On your mark. And by the way, thank you very much, everyone. It's been a real pleasure. Set, go. Asanas away. 1 minute, 22 seconds. Go.
If you have parked your car in the nearby apartment complex, please remove it. Otherwise, they're going to tow your car. If you have parked your car in the nearby apartment complex, it will be towed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Everyone gather around. If you can hear me, please raise your hand. If you can hear me right now, if you can hear the sound of my voice, raise your hand. If you can hear me, raise your hand. If you can hear me, raise your hand. If you can hear me, say shh. Make the open aisle here. Can give room to everyone so they can fit in and hear the offering. And we'll keep it open aisle. It doesn't have to be so wide, but make sure it's open. And are you all ready? Doesn't sound like it. All right.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept our most humble obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet. All glories to your divine grace. We are gathered here to offer the results of our 2024 monthly Sankirtan festival titled Live to Give 24 Prabhupada Marathon. From Prabhupada's arrival address at Los Angeles, June 20, 1975. I have no personal qualification, but I simply try to satisfy my Guru. That's all. My Guru Maharaj asked me that If you get some money, you print books. So there was a private meeting talking, some of my important godbrothers also there. It was in Radhakund. So Guru Maharaj was speaking to me that since we have got this Bagh Bazaar marble temple, there has been so many dissensions and everyone thinking who will occupy this room or that room. I wish therefore to sell this temple and the marble and print some books. Yes. So I took up this from his mouth that he is very fond of books. And he told me personally that if you get some money, print books. Therefore, I am stressing on this point. Where is book? Where is book? Where is book? So kindly help me. This is my request. Print as many books in as many languages and distribute throughout the whole world. Then Krishna consciousness movement will automatically increase. The Bhakti community is a community of spiritual seekers who are interested in learning about the timeless wisdom and practices of Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of love and gratitude. With blessings of His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu and Her Grace Nirakula Mataji, the Bhakti community continue to inspire newcomers to pursue Bhakti through various weekly programs. On Mondays in the Bhakti On program, we continued the idiom series with topics such as Right as Rain and Seek Small Victories. Subsequently, a new series, Think Different, Transform Your Life with the Timeless Wisdom of Gita was completed. Currently, a new series, 18 chapters, No Excuses, Debunking Doubts, one chapter at a time, is in progress. Around 40 newcomers attended the program every week. On Thursdays in the Bhakti Circle program, we completed the series Journey of Inquiry, Explore the 4 questions with Vaisesika Das. Currently, Bhakti Circle Discover Yourself Level 1 is in progress. Around 15 people attended the program every week. On Fridays, we continued the Success Sadhana program for corporate newcomers. The topics included the happiness equation, the radiance within, and the secrets of ancient yogis for training the mind. Around 35 newcomers attended these programs. Next stop, the Mantra Zone. The in-person meetup continued to provide a safe space for newcomers to experience the bliss of mantra music, wisdom, and sumptuous prasadam. Around 50 people in Palo Alto and around 15 people in San Jose attended the meetup program. On Sundays, the Women's Circle program continued to discuss Bhagavad Gita, focused on the perfection of renunciation. Around 10 women attended these programs weekly. Comunidad Bhakti, the Bhakti community for Spanish-speaking people, continued to conduct 6 weekly Bhakti classes for the newcomers, including Bhakti Circle, Japa Circle, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. Around 40 newcomers attended these weekly programs. Bhakti Community Seattle continued to conduct the weekly Bhakti program, including Discover Yourself on Thursdays, Wisdom Wednesdays, and Bhagavad Gita reading on Sundays. The Ghazal Action Force continued to propel wisdom messages across social media to keep the transcendental vibration going. Around 35,260 total engagements were achieved during the month of December. Currently, 12 Bhakti community volunteer teams are actively engaged in the Vision 2025 planning sessions. The Bhakti Community 2025 goals will be offered in the next MSF. Bhakti Community's sole purpose is to associate newcomers with Vaishnavas so that the newcomers can progress in Bhakti Yoga. Vaishnava Sangha Lava, or VSL, is a metric that measures how many times a newcomer comes in association with a Vaishnava through a devotional service class. For this MSF, Bhakti Community Seattle achieved 1,944 Vaishnava Sangha Lavas. Hari Bol. Around 18 newcomers attended the program at the Bhakti Community Seattle. And for the year, for this MSF, Comunidad Bhakti's goal was to achieve 1,470 Vaishnava Sangha Lavas. We are happy to report that Comunidad Bhakti surpassed the goal and achieved 4,560 Vaishnava Sangha Lavas. Around 38 newcomers attended the Comunidad Bhakti programs. For this MSF, Bhakti Community Silicon Valley's goal was to achieve 1,050 Vaishnava Sangha lovers. We are happy to report that the Bhakti Community Silicon Valley surpassed the goal and achieved 5,196 Vaishnava Sangha lovers. Around 50 newcomers attended the Bhakti Community Silicon Valley programs. And for the year 2024, Bhakti Community Seattle achieved 5,014 Vaishnava Sangha Lavas, which was attended by more than 30 newcomers. And for the year 2024, Comunidad Bhakti's goal was to achieve 5,145 Vaishnava Sangha Lavas. We are happy to report that Comunidad Bhakti surpassed the goal and achieved 22,510 Vaishnava Sangha Lavas. Around 90 newcomers attended the Comunidad Bhakti program. And for the year 2024, Bhakti Community Silicon Valley's goal was to achieve 3,675 Vaishnava Sangha Lavas. We are happy to report that Bhakti Community Silicon Valley surpassed the goal and achieved 16,653 Vaishnava Sangha Lavas. In total, around 327 online and in-person classes were conducted this year at the Bhakti Community Silicon Valley, and around 600 newcomers attended these programs. More than 100 people attended the in-person Mantra Zone program, and around 20 people attended the retreat program. We are eternally indebted and grateful to all the volunteers, room leaders, speakers, mentors, and book distributors who work tirelessly every day to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's mission and spread the Krishna consciousness in the Western world. We also want to thank each of our donors who help us maintain Bhakti community. We seek blessings from you, Srila Prabhupada, and all Srila Prabhupada's disciples, so that we can attempt to inspire newcomers to take up the path of Bhakti if Sri Krishna so desires. And finally, our most heartfelt, sincere gratitude to His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu and Her Grace Nirakala Mataji. It's only due to your presence, leadership, and motivation that the Bhakti community exists and is thriving. Bhakti community gets the opportunity to serve newcomers due to the tireless efforts of the book distribution team. Now, Her Grace Malini Mataji will present the book distribution results.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept our most humble obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet. All glories to your divine grace. We are gathered here on the most auspicious occasion to offer the results of our Live to Give marathon, which lasted over 3 months. The goal for this MSF was to distribute at least 78,000 Bhagavad Gitas from Bhadra Purnima till today. The highlights of this MSF are: Kids team participated enthusiastically every weekend and organized special kids outings every month. They covered store to store in far places such as Daly City, Pacifica, Gilroy, San Martin, Antioch, Brentwood, Gilroy, and many other places. Many kids took cases of Bhagavad Gita, packed themselves, and went door to door with their friends and distributed more than 2,500 Bhagavad Gitas. Some kids did more than 35 cases of Bhagavad Gita each. The youth have started setting up their own tables in many places like universities, parks, farmers' markets, etc. Totally, they distributed 84 Srimad Bhagavatam sets, 7,551 Bhagavad Gitas. They accrued 23,783.875 in book points, and they collected $18,827.30 in Lakshmi. Team Motel Gita had another successful year of distributing Bhagavad Gitas to hotels and motels in USA. Team Motel Gita now has an assorted books processing center in Los Angeles. This optimizes the cost of shipping of the books. They also attended regional AHOA trade shows in Southern and Northern California, Houston, Austin, Florida, and there they distributed over 3,000 Bhagavad Gitas. The Team ISV packing and dispatch team for Motel Gita dispatched around 250K books from ISV campus to various hotels and motels across USA. In total, for the marathon, Motel Gita distributed 40,148 Bhagavad Gitas, accrued 85,456 book points, and they also collected $8,200 in Lakshmi. Western Sankirtan team went far and beyond the Bay Area to spread the mercy of Lord Nityananda and Lord Sri Chaitanya. They did clipboard donations where the visitors were very happy to donate for the Gram Vidyadan. Traveling Sankirtan team had huge success. They were on the road for more than 40 days for this marathon. More than 15 devotees went out on traveling Sankirtan, which includes 4 kids. The team was traveling in freezing temperatures, and they covered the following spots during their traveling Sankirtan. They covered Grand Canyon, Sacramento, Los Angeles, Fresno, San Diego, Seattle, Phoenix, Tucson, and Las Vegas. Apart from traveling Sankirtan, many spots were covered locally. Some of them are Santa Cruz, Los Gatos downtown, Christmas in the Park, Richmond, San Francisco restaurants, Mountain View Farmers Market, Indian grocery stores, Walmarts, Targets, Costco's, Little Free Library, colleges like UC Berkeley, SJSU, De Anza, Cabrillo College, UC Merced, SCU East Bay, UCSC, Stanford University, SCU, to name a few. The Arabic team also covered the Palestine Cultural Festival, this MSF. And they also attended a few of these notorious events like October Beer Festival, Lake Merritt, Oakland, Los Gatos Art and Wine Festival, Lafayette Art and Wine Festival, and many more. Arabic book distribution uncovered many pious souls who were interested in our philosophy and were happy to be part of spreading the Krishna conscious philosophy in Arabic language. The Arabic team and Farsi team covered 20 plus stores in various areas like Los Angeles, Seattle, Phoenix, and in Bay Area, where they distributed more than 8,000 Farsi and Arabic books. In total, Western Sankirtan team distributed 135 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. They distributed 9,492 Bhagavad Gitas. They accrued 68,678.6 book points, and they collected $113,317.60 in Lakshmi. wisdom of the sages group, headed by His Grace Kaustuva Prabhu and His Grace Raghunath Prabhu's team, also sponsored cases of Gita, and they collected $1,710 in Lakshmi. The ISV inventor and shipping team worked tirelessly to dispatch thousands of books within the Bay Area and also in North America. They organized the packing of many thousands of Trimurti sets, and they provided the packaging material for many locations in Bay Area. This year, the volunteers from Salesforce also helped pack 3,600 Trimurti sets. Corporate Sankirtan team had a strongest year with all-time high Lakshmi scores, which is actually twice their goal. Corporate grants collected more than $3,000 in Lakshmi, and there was 30% increase in number of companies participating in the matching program. In total, they collected $845,872 in Lakshmi. Devotees donated generously during the Sunday feast and Gita Jayanti festival and received special amulets dipped in the holy waters of Vrindavan. As we make this offering, Srila Prabhupada, we are pleased to report that all the goals have been successfully met, surpassed, and smashed. In all, more than 400 devotees participated in this marathon. And Team ISV accrued 240,660.6 in book points this MSF. Which includes 37 Chaitanya Charitamrita sets, 254 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And Team ISV distributed 83,309 Bhagavad Gitas, surpassing the previous year's total of 74,976 Bhagavad Gitas. And Team ISV collected $1,134,216.85 in Lakshmi, surpassing the previous year's MSF total of $490,957.01. Those were the scores for this MSF, and Prabhupada, we also would like to give you the yearly totals for 2024. Team ISV accrued 653,581 in book points this year, and Team ISV distributed 124,768 Bhagavad Gitas. Team ISV distributed 513 Chaitanya Charitamrita sets, and Team ISV distributed 4,113 Srimad Bhagavatam sets, and Team ISV collected total of $1,636,911.93 in Lakshmi. Srila Prabhupada, we are happy to report that we surpassed our 10% increase in BBT remittance for 2024, and we remitted $1,133,954 in Lakshmi to BBT. We are grateful to each and every devotee at ISV who participated in this MSF in every possible way. We are also grateful to our online audience who have also participated enthusiastically through their attention and generous donations. We express our immense gratitude to His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu, Her Grace Nirakula Mataji, and all of Srila Prabhupada's disciples for encouraging us in continuing this mission of Srila Prabhupada. Haribol. Haribol. We pray to our dear Lordships, the previous Acharyas, and to you, Srila Prabhupada, to empower and shower your blessings upon Team ISV so that we can continue to work in the mood of cooperation to show the mercy to one and all. Live to Give Marathon ki
Jai!
Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki
Jai!
Shri Shri Mahaprabhu ki
Jai!
Shri Shri Lakshmi Narsinga Dev ki
Jai!
Shri Shri Panchatattva ki
Jai!
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai! I want to give special thanks to Jai Madhava Prabhu and Pavani Bhakti for leading the amazing effort of Bhakti community and expanding it. You're making a difference not just here, but all over the world. And I want to acknowledge the leadership of Her Grace Malini Devi Dasi and Sri Krishna Purushottam, Shraddha Devi Dasi, and all the other leaders who are working cooperatively and non-stop thinking about how to expand the Krishna consciousness movement, which Srila Prabhupada mentions in the Upadeshamrita as a sign of the most advanced devotees. He says they're always thinking 24 hours a day how to spread the Sankirtan movement. Thank you to all the devotees for working cooperatively, because it's not what we do, but how we do it that counts in the long run, because birds fly in the sky as high as they're able, but the sky's unlimited. So we give this as a heartfelt offering to Srila Prabhupada with immense gratitude in our hearts that he's arranged this service for us and this community where we can all be together and execute the orders of the Guru Parampara. My deepest thanks to everybody. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Gaur Premanande. And now if you'd like to adjust your vision by turning towards the deity, we'll start our evening artik. Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna
Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Vairajikacharya Stotra Shatashi Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Vairajikacharya Ashtottara Shatashi Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Vaisesika Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Ganga Mai Jamuna Mai Ki Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna. You can be seated for the Narasimhadev prayers. Today's Narasimhadev prayers would be dedicated to Herb Swanson, who is the father of our dear Kal Prabhu at ISV. You can see him on Saturday morning. And we pray to the Lordship, Lord Nrsimhadev, Shri Shriman Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan. If so desired, please grant him an eternal shelter at your lotus feet. Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narashinhaya. Namaste Hare Krishna. We welcome you to ISKCON of Silicon Valley, and we'd like to thank His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu for giving such a wonderful class today. We'd also like to make a special thank you to every single member of the Sankirtan team, the well-wishers of the Sankirtan team, the Sankirtan leaders, as well as His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu and Nirkala Mataji for offering such a monumentous offering to Srila Prabhupada of our scores today. Haribol. Haribol. And we'd like to thank His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu, Brajas Bhavana, and Anapayani Bhakti for leading today's kirtan. Haribol. We have 3 sponsors for today's Sunday feast. If you're present here today, please come up, and we'd like to hear a few words from you. And after the announcements and during Prasadam, please see Sri Gopal Prabhu, and he'll give you your Mahaprasadam sweet and gift. So first, we have Kushal Prabhu, who's sponsoring on the occasion of his wife, Swati Gupta's birthday. Haribol. Kushal Prabhu, are you here? All right, we'll still thank Kushal Prabhu for his sponsorship. Next. Oh, please come up. Please don't be shy. Oh, please come up.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and we seek blessings from all the devotees and Maharaj so that we continue progressing and continuing in our spiritual journey. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. And here's a little sweet. Right hand, right. Next, we have Mahesh and Shivani, who are sponsoring on the occasion of their recent marriage. Evo. Yeah. And next, we have Vinay and Shilpa Mataji, Vinay Prabhu and Shilpa Mataji, who are sponsoring on the occasion of their wedding anniversary. Evo. Vinay and Shilpa. This is Mahesh and Shivani, who sponsored earlier. Yes, please say it.
Hare Krishna. Please keep us in your prayers. I've been here since my master's. Devotees at ISV has been there in every step of my life. So I'm here today because of all the devotees' mercy, prayers, and their help at every step of my life. So in my new beginning, I request all of your prayers and blessings so that I can progress in my Krishna conscious journey.
Thank you, everyone. Please keep us in our prayers. Thank you.
Do we have Vinay and Shilpa Mataji here? Yes, please. They are sponsoring also on the occasion of their wedding anniversary.
Hare Krishna. We humbly seek blessings of Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan and all the ISV congregation devotees. And we are very grateful for the association of ISV congregation for many years and looking forward for many more years of this association. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Next, through these kind sponsorships, we have a wonderful feast that was prepared by a host of cooks, and Vivan will announce them for us.
Hare Krishna, I hope you enjoyed today's blessed prasad, which has been prepared by the following volunteers. Ujjvala Rasa Mataji, Kanika Mataji, Tripti Mataji, Sirisha Mataji, Paris Mataji, Nupur Mataji, Manjari Gopi Mataji, Akuta Chaitanya Prabhu, Rasamrita Prabhu, Tadyaseva Prabhu, Arun Prabhu, Anil Prabhu, Satvik Prabhu, Ruchi Mataji, Prahlad Prabhu, Rima Mataji, Sundari Leela Mataji, Meghavi Mataji, Vivan, and Kishori.
Thank you, Vivan, for sharing the cooks. Now we have a couple special announcements from Hansapriya Mataji before we proceed to Prashadam.
Revans, you kind of sounded like ISV's AI. Anyway, thank you, Beta. So I wanted to actually acknowledge two beautiful celebrations that we are having at ISV. And I'm sure you're all excited about it. And I would like to invite Her Grace Malini Devi for her birthday. Malini has been here since 2000. 2000. So it's like our friendship goes back almost now 25 years. Malini has been a backbone of ISV. As you see that how her team of book distribution is inspired every weekend to go out, it's just because of her love and her mood that she passes down what she has learned from His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu and her Guru Maharaj. And she is a great example of Dasa Nudas and Das and that. So please pray for her and protect her and pray that we also have her association for many, many more years to come. So now we'll have Malini share the wisdom.
I don't know if I have any wisdom to share. I came here in 2000, as Hansapriya was mentioning, almost 2000 of May. And it's almost 25 years. I can say that this is my home temple. This is the first ISKCON temple I've ever been to. And this is the ISKCON temple where I grew up. And I hope and pray that this is the ISKCON temple I would retire and leave my body, who knows, with all your prayers and blessings. And I received so much of love and affection from each one of you. And I don't think I can express my gratitude for that enough. But I can say that I am here because of the blessings of His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu, Her Grace Nirakula Mataji, my Guru Maharaj, and the love and affection from all of you. So I request you to please continue to consider me as one of your servants and use me in any way you think will be good for Srila Prabhupada's service. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
All I have to say is you have to do such a good pious activities to get the friendship of Malini Devi Dasi and association of her. So we pray that Lordship awards us your association for many, many more years to come and your leadership that inspires the whole world. Hare Krishna. And the next we have, Shri Gopal Prabhu, can we get your help? Next we have our treasurer, is a real treasurer of ISV. And he's not just the treasurer, but he's a pujari. He also helps with the milk distribution. And he has joined in 2011, and just before we left the Bascom temple. So Surya Kund Prabhu is actually wonderful Grihastha family that who inspires that if you want to grow, you want to dedicate your life to Srila Prabhupada, associate with him and his wonderful wife and lovely daughter, Surabhi. So today we are again honored to have celebrate Surya Kund Prabhu's birthday. And actually, before I go, may I please request Vaisesika Prabhu to bless Malini and Surya Kund Prabhu on their
It's heartfelt living in a tight-knit community like this. And when we all serve together side by side, year after year, decade after decade, it becomes the most important of all entities. The community and the relationships become extremely deep. And Suryakund Prabhu has been faithfully serving in ISV for decades now, along with his family. And we're watching Surabhi grow up. She's already in law school. Just looking at her and seeing she was a little kid running around recently. And Suryakund Prabhu has been one of the pillars of ISV since the very beginning. He keeps an eye on all our finances and many other very important aspects. One of those services that you don't see until something goes wrong, but we don't see much because he makes sure that things don't go wrong. Thank you very much for all that you do, and congratulations on building a spiritual portfolio that will be a catalyst for taking you back to the spiritual world. Hare Krishna. Malini, happy birthday. Who knew that you would become a co-leader of one of the biggest Sankirtan parties that ever graced the earth? That all those years ago, I remember the first day you came out and we were distributing books on the UC Berkeley campus, and you said, "Can I do this?" And I realized from the enthusiasm in your voice that you could do anything, and you've proved it. You do it with panache, and the results speak for themselves. We pray on your birthday, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu may empower you from within your heart to do more and more, and especially to beat Mayapur. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful celebration. This is what this community is about. If you would like to know more about what ISV is, ISKCON of Silicon Valley, please feel free to reach out to us. You don't have to reach out to the leaders here because everyone is a leader here, right? So it's not just me, Sri Gopal Prabhu, or Priya Kishori, but you can connect with anyone. Krishna Purushottam Prabhu, Malini, Suryakund, Ananga. We have all ages here. So thank you very much for being at the Sunday feast at ISKCON Silicon Valley. It's a great honor and privilege to have you all here. And next we will go into Prasadam, which you're eagerly waiting, and I won't get in between you two. Yeah.
So we just need a little bit of help to clean the temple as we're running slightly late. We have another program called Youth Jam, which starts at 7 p.m. So right around 6:35 to 6:45, you'll be asked to leave the room so that the cleaners can start cleaning. So please do leave, and if you're done with Prasadam, please jump in and help so that we can get the next program started. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Sharira Vidyaja Jodendriya Taeka Jive Phile Vishaya Sagore Dharmade Jivayati Lobhamoy Sudurmati Take Jita Kadina Samsare Krishna Badodoyamoy Kori Bare Jivajay Swaprasadana Dilobhay Seyanamrita Pao Radha Krishna Guna Gao Premeda Ko Shri Chaitanya Nitai Premeda Ko Shri Chaitanya Nitai Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Kaupapunyavadam rajan Vishvaso nevajayate prasade sarva dukkanam Prasana cheta soyashu buddhi paryavatishtate tvayopa bhukta shaganda Pasolankara charchita Uchishta bojino dasa Stavamayam jayemahi Shushkam paryushitam vapi Nitam badura deshata Prapti matrina bhoktavyam Natakala vicharana Nadesha niyamastata Nakala niyamastata Praptamanam dhrutam chishter Bhoktavyam adira pravir Bhagavad Shri Mahaprasada ki. Please come take prasadam. Hare Krishna.